For some years now, the Waitakere City Council has been concerned about the quantity of rubbish that's being created in our city. And their concerns have recently been confirmed, in fact, by the census figures. We see that our population in the last 5 years has increased 12%, but in actual fact, the amount of rubbish created has increased by 42%. And this has become a great worry to the council. Most people are aware that later on this year, the K Road Balefill site will close. The residents have told us in the next 5 years, they think they can reduce the rubbish by about 40%. Now, to do this, we've looked at options of how to deal with our rubbish, the increasing amount of rubbish. And one of the suggestions was the scheme that's been proposed by the council, charging $1 for a bag of rubbish to be disposed of. And this has aroused a lot of controversy. In the meantime, of course, people have been upset about it. But this scheme is now a scheme which operates in 17 local authorities in New Zealand. And in fact, our near neighbour, North Shore, has had the scheme in about 3 or 4 years.
You've already got people dumping rubbish on the side of the road. If you want to quadruple that, that's all you have to do is make people pay to get their rubbish taken away. You know?
I think people can't afford it because they've got big families, so they're going to be putting out a lot of rubbish bags.
Most people have, as a result of this, been able to reduce their rubbish. They compost the rubbish created in the kitchen and they recycle the plastics and the cans. And in actual fact, on North Shore, in their first year, they reduced the amount of rubbish by 20%. So we think they can do it there, we can probably do it here as well. What we're trying to do is to put the responsibility back onto the people who create the rubbish. We know of examples in our city where people are putting out 10 and 12 bags of rubbish a week. How they can ever get to that figure, I'll never know.
I reckon it's not fair because our family puts out about 2 or 3 rubbish bags a week, and that means like if we have to pay $2 or $3, we could buy save it up, and we could buy tapes, clothes.
30% of the rubbish that's going into our K Road Balefill site at the moment is paper. This could be recycled, but it seems that the people are unwilling to do what I consider to be fairly basic things. In other words, put your paper out separately, it'll be taken away by the paper chase people, and you don't have to put it into the rubbish bin. That hasn't go to the Balefill site, and this applies to many other things as well.
If the council do that, then they're going to be other people are just going to be dumping all their rubbish on the ground.
We can buy products, for example, that have far less packaging than they have now. And the people who create the packaging will then get the message that the people are not prepared to buy products that are full up with packaging material.
The council thinks it's a bit of a rip-off, paying for $1 to throw away your rubbish. You know, it's sort of like you could have spent that money on something more important, like maybe for these people in Ethiopia.
And I think it's cool because they make money for recycling and stuff. So then all that money goes to, what does it go to?
But included in your rates at the present time is $97 for every household. This was, in the past, able to cover the cost of disposing of your rubbish and getting it into the landfill site. In the past, not now. At the moment, in the last year, it's costing the council $135 per household to get rid of this rubbish. We're losing money in the meantime on this.
Money-wise, it doesn't matter to me. It's just as long as my rubbish is actually getting out of my way and out of my house. And
I come from Auckland City, not Waitakere City, and I think the wheelie bins are the best idea.
People suggested that we use the big green bins, which they do in Auckland. That's great, but Auckland now are having second thoughts about that because it's increased their rubbish by even greater quantities. The rubbish has increased in Waitakere City, so they're having second thoughts about that too.
I think it's a good idea because it encourages recycling, and
I don't think it's a good idea because people are just going to dump their rubbish anywhere because they don't want to have to pay.
It is a good idea, but on one side there will be people who can't afford to do that, and they just won't care because they don't want to pay for it, and they'll just end up by chucking it on the side of the road or dumping it somewhere else. But then there will be those who do think it's a good idea, so there's recycling rubbish and all that, and they will do that, but it's just a lot of different ways of looking at it. But I think personally it's a good idea.
So while it might cost a wee bit more in the next 1 or 2 years, we hope in 3 or 4 years' time we can get down to $65 per household, and that's what the whole object is. We're not in the business to try and make it more difficult for you people to pay rates. We're in the business of trying to find ways in which we can reduce the cost of rubbish disposal.
What I reckon of the pay for rubbish system is fine if we get 52 stickers for 1 sack per week. If we have to pay for the existing rubbish, then that's not cool, but we only use 1 sack a week anyway, which is all anyone needs to use. So if they give us free 1 sack per week and charge for all the others, then I'm happy.